Hello and welcome to Driver's Therapy. Today we have a video that I'm really excited about because we are going to show you how to take out the OEM radio from the NSX, and then we're going to take the guts out of the NSX, the radio internals and circuitry, and we're going to put this radio inside here. Now, a quick shout out to my buddy Jasser. He did give me some advice and help with it, so I'm really excited. I know I'm not the first one to do this, but I want to provide a really nice comprehensive video. On that note though, it is my first time, so I'm really looking forward to seeing the comments of how to do it better, any recommendations that you will have. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and rewind back in time, and we're going to show you how to take this out, and then we're going to do the radio work, and then we're going to put it in there, and we're going to show you, and we're going to see how it works. All right, let's start off. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this little floor from the compartment, and then we're going to remove 4 screws inside here. Now we're going to remove this single screw from right here at the bottom of the console. At this time, we're going to go ahead and remove the ashtray because behind there's some screws. What we're going to do is we're going to lift up this compartment and we're going to push up, and our ashtray comes out. And behind there is 2 screws. So let's go ahead and take those out as well. One, 2, and I have both. Now we're going to remove the shift knob, and what we have to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this collar from the shift knob itself. And now we're going to remove the knob by turning it counterclockwise. And now we're going to be removing the clock trim. And apparently you could put a screwdriver here, you just need to make sure that you cover it up. I'm going to try to attack it from the bottom. And I think I'm doing pretty good. And then we're going to unplug its connector. And it's out. So after removing the clock, inside there, you're going to see 2 screws. Go ahead and remove those. Now we're going to remove the AC vent. And that just comes out like that. And at this point, we're going to remove these 2 screws. They're kind of at a little awkward angle, but if you angle your screwdriver, you'll be fine. At this point, I believe you can remove this outer console trim. So let's go ahead and try that out. There's a couple connectors here we have to take off, but that's not a big deal. We could do that. One connector is off. And the second connector is off. And I believe we could remove it. And here it is, guys. The console trim is off. Okay, now we're going to remove the climate control unit in order for us to access the entire radio. So I'm going to start off with these screws up here. The next one. And then it looks like there's some screws inside here. These little holes. Looks like there's a cutout or molding for a screwdriver, and I do see some screws in there. So I'm going to go ahead and take those out. All right, at this point, I believe we should be able to remove this unit. But what I'm going to do is I don't want to remove it completely because I do have access to the radio right here. So let's go ahead and get these screws out. Now we're going to get the bottom screw. There should be two, but like I was saying, there's only one. We're going to get this one. Looks like it's also a grounding strap. Whew. That one was on there pretty tight. And that's a little scary because these are not very strong screws, and if you over tighten them, then you definitely could strip them. And that brings a lot of fun. It looks like somebody added a washer here to it. Yep. Okay. Now we're going to see if we could take out the radio. Okay, I am getting some resistance, so I'm not sure what is fighting me, but I'm thinking there's some connectors back here. I can't really quite see them. I'm sure Elise might be able to see them, but I can't. So I'm just going to aimless. I pulled one out, and I got lucky on that one. And then I'm assuming this is a antenna, just because I've done a lot of radios, it's like second nature now. Yep. And this is something else, and another antenna, I believe. And I think we're just down to this bad boy, which might be the cable to the CD changer, but I know how to take this one off. Boop. And here it is. Radio is removed. And now we're gonna take this bad boy apart. So I'm going to approach this in an organized manner. The OEM radio has about 24 screws in there. So what I did is I drew a diagram and I marked the location of the screws and how many there are. So this top side right here has 2, and it says top and there's 2. But where really it's going to help us out is the back side. The back side has 16 screws. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we keep ourselves organized with those 16 screws, and we're going to actually tape them to the piece of paper so we stay extra tidy. So now we're going to just try to disassemble this. I'm just going to approach it, in different ways here. Oh, look at that. That's something's happening there. We got some type of movement here. My goal is to be gentle, but also to try to... Oh, look at that. We got a top off. Woohoo! Okay. Whoa, that's a lot of stuff. All right, the face looks like it's wanting to come off. So let's flip this over and see if we could take off this back side. All right, so I'm using these, there's like a little opening slot. If you see right here, guys, what I'm doing is I'm sticking my screwdriver here and I'm just pushing up slowly on it. We got another top off. Woohoo! Okay, at this point, I think logically we could try to address this face here. Now, I know it's going to be connected. I see a ribbon here. If you guys don't know what a ribbon is, it's a very delicate connector, and it's usually you don't want to pull on that. We're going to continue with removing the face, and the way you do that is you're going to pull up on these knobs, the volume knob and the tune AM FM knob. And what you do is you simply just pull up like that. And same with this one. And they do need a little bit of effort to get them out, but they come out. Okay, so our goal is to take off the face, but I'm going to pause that because I think we could get to it easier and get to the ribbons easier if we flip this over and we take off this circuit board. It looks like this circuit board is held on by 4 screws, so let's go ahead and take that off. And this time around I'm going to use the good old handy sandwich bag. And it looks like we have some solder on these screws, so let's see how we're going to approach that. So we're into an issue here on the circuit board. Some of the screws to remove the circuit board have solder on them. There was one up here that I tried to desolder, didn't work, so I used a drill bit and it slipped and it damaged the circuit board, but essentially I drilled out the head of the screw because it was stripped out. So let's see if we could remove the solder from this one. So I removed the solder out of that, let's see if we can get to the screw now. The screw is not moving. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat up the screw. Sometimes that helps to loosen it up. All right, I see it's heated up. And we got it. We were able to get that screw out. And you can see the solder on it right there, so after all that drama, I believe that the circuit board is finally loose. But I'm getting some resistance, and I believe we have another ribbon here. But I believe that we could disconnect this ribbon right here. I'm going to try that. My goal is to not hurt stuff, but as we could tell, some of those screws were a pain in the butt. So I was able to get this ribbon off, and what I did is I just kind of shimmied it right, left, and then I took these, took off the edges and pulled it down. I'm going to try to see if I could show you here. It's kind of a hard angle, and the reason why is that there's, I think, 4 ribbons total on this. I don't want to hurt anything, so it's kind of a process here. I wonder if I could do this one. Maybe it looks like I could probably take this ribbon off right here. I don't know if you guys could see that, but I'm jimmying it up like that, being as gentle as I can. It looks like that came off. So maybe by pushing it up, these ribbons come off and you don't have to take it all the way off. Again, we're learning this together, and that's what reverse engineering is all about. I'm going to attempt to see if I could do the same with this one. Okay, that moved over to the right, so I'm going to go to the left here. It moved. Same thing with that one. Same thing with that one. And if my hypothesis is correct, this ribbon should come out. Look at that. Not bad. Same thing as well. We're going to jimmy it over. And then gently, oh nope, trying to be gentle. We're going to gently, oh, I see the ribbons coming off loose. I'm not pushing hard at all. Just slowly guiding it left to right. Boom. And at this point in time, I think the circuit board should come up. Oh man. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and take the solder off of this connector so we can get this antenna wire off. Let's go ahead and do it. Essentially what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat this up and just pull. And that is off. We did get a little bit of solder on our board, but that's okay. So we have our first circuit board out of our old radio. We're gonna set that over here. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull out this antenna that we unsoldered. And at this point, we're gonna go ahead and move on with removing the rest of the internals of this old radio. So at this time, I flipped over the radio, and what I'm gonna do is, since I don't have any instructions how to take this apart, I'm just gonna look for the screws that look like they're mounting screws, and I'm just gonna start taking them off. So what I did is I removed 4 screws. I removed 1, 2, 3, 4. And it seems like it's a little loose, but it's still connected to something. I'm assuming it's connected to the circuit board in the bottom. I'm gonna try one more time. Yeah, it's connected. So let's go ahead and flip this over. And I actually see 1, 2, 3, 4 more screws. The only thing is some of these screws also are soldered over, so we're gonna have to work our way around that, and it gives me an opportunity to try out my solder sucker. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. So let's go ahead and start removing these. Some of them are gonna be quite easy because there's not any solder on them, but I'm telling you, the one that did have solder was a pain in the butt. So this one has solder. This one's mildly covered in solder, and this one, we could probably get this one free. There we go. Now, I would be safe to say don't underestimate the tensile strength of solder. If these screws were not coming out when it was with some solder, so. See if I can wedge myself. There we go. Get it out. At this point, I'm gonna go ahead and, I don't know if you guys can see, but here's another blob of solder, and here's our solder sucker. So let's give this a shot. All right. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna heat this up, hold my breath, press it down. Too slow, too slow. Ooh, I got it. Look at that. That's awesome. That was my first time using a solder sucker and it did it. Okay, that was freaking amazing. Look at that, and it came right off now. Whew. I am feeling like a pro. All right. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing with this one, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling like a pro, so we're gonna heat it up. Get it nice and liquidy. And we did it. It sucked it up. Let's go and take off the screw. All right. Uh-oh. Maybe I was getting too excited here. I feel like there's just a little bit more solder around the bolt. So I'm gonna have to do what I did the first time, and I'm gonna heat this screw up and go up in there. Got it. And if I'm correct, when you heat the screws up and stuff like that, you're helping it to get out. All right. So we have 4 of them out. I'm going to test this. All right, I don't think there's any more screws here. So let's go ahead and flip it over and see if for some reason that helped us take out this unit. This bad boy is on somehow. All right, that is still on there. So I'm gonna pause and do some research. Okay, so I figured out what to do next, and we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this assembly here. And the way we do that is I actually did it flipped over, but since I already did it, I'm just gonna show you how it's connected. So it simply comes off, but right here are the ports, and on this circuit board below it, that's where it connects to, and that's the only thing that was stopping it from coming out. So you just gently push it out. All right, and look what we have access to, the ribbons to the face. If you see that, look at that. So let's go ahead and take those off and then go from there. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the same method. I'm gonna go ahead and, let me stand this up a little bit so you guys can see. What I'm gonna simply do is just shimmy this off. I'm gonna alternate, and when I hit a stopping point, I know that it's gonna come off when I gently pry on it. Same thing with this one. We're gonna just move over like that. And at that point, I'm pretty confident. Now I'm not gonna just yank on this. What I plan to do is I'm gonna double check. That's off. Okay. And then gently, I'm going to, let's see. Okay, maybe I'll just pull gently, because whoop, and there it is. And our face is off. That is exciting. And now at this point, we're gonna flip it over. Actually, no, we have a ribbon right here. Let's go ahead and do the same thing. We're gonna shimmy left, right. We disconnected the circuit board already, so it looks like what we're left is it is making contact with this circuit board here. So what I'm going to do is, this makes pretty much logical sense, is I'm going to take off this nut and pull this one out so I could get the circuit board off. I think that's the only way you could get it off. Or if I move it over to the right, but let's go ahead and do that. So we took this ribbon off of the little one that we were working on earlier, and now we have to remove the circuit board, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to go ahead and take off this nut. Now what I did notice is I started ahead of time because I just wanted to fight with it before I did on camera, and I think there's some sort of Loctite. There was something on these, on the threads of the connector. So let's go ahead, I did get it a little loose already, but it was a little hard to turn. So at this point, it might be loose enough for me to do it by hand. Actually, it's not. It really did require some force on my end. All right, see, all right. Got a little bit, and simply what we have to do is we have to take this out, take this nut out, flat nut. And at this point in time, we're able to pull out this, which I believe is one of the knobs. And now I believe that the circuit board should be able to come out. So let's go ahead and test that theory. There's some notches back here. I'm just going to pull the circuit board out here. And it looks like we have the circuit board out. Woohoo! Look at that, guys. We are getting pretty far, and we are left with this. I believe we don't have to remove this, and the reason why is that I just feel it's unnecessary to do all this whenever it's not taking a lot of room, I'm assuming. But guys, we are really far. So at this point in time, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take off this circuitry off the face, because we're going to need this face. So let me go get it back, and we'll come back and take this face off, or the circuit board off the face. Okay, so I'm just gonna start taking stuff off, and the reason why is that we're not gonna be using this. We just simply need this face aesthetically. So we're gonna take off these screws. And there is a chance that I might have to put back some stuff, and we'll look at that later, but at this point in time, I'm just gonna strip it down so we could have access to everything. I am so excited, and I only had a little bit of coffee. And our circuitry is out. And our face is going to be ready for its conversion. So let's go ahead and look at all this real quick, guys. We're going to do a quick recap. So we have the case where our new radio guts is going to go on there. We have the face, circuitry's off, and we're now going to be ready for the modification. Okay, now we're going to be starting off by modifying the original radio to fit our aftermarket radio. And what we're going to have to do is, first off, we're going to have to remove this bracket. And it looks like it's kind of riveted on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a drill bit and we're going to drill it out and then pull out this piece of sheet metal. Let's get that done first. Okay, let's see what we got. We have bracket is off. At this point in the process, we're going to be cutting this segment off the casing, and we're going to be leaving the top left, the knobs attached. Okay, so this is a trace that I did, and I'm going to be cutting it using the Dremel, and it's going to be a hot mess, but essentially what we need to do is we need to make an opening for the back of the aftermarket radio for all the wires and such. I think we're done. So now we're going to start assembling the radio. We're going to be modifying it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take off this faceplate adapter from this one, and then we're going to be adding this bottom plate to the casing. So let's go ahead and get that done. Okay, now let's go ahead and fit the Kenwood radio inside the case. We're going to put this wire through here, and this one as well. And let's see if we could do it without hurting the circuit board here. Looks like things are sliding there like they should. And it's all the way back. And that looks pretty good. Woo, guys, this is awesome. at this point, let's go ahead and see if we can attach this guy. All right, now we're gonna put the face on here and see what happens. All right, I got some, I mean, this thing is in there really nicely, so we have the radio in there, and as you can see, that's looking pretty good. I'm actually super excited. All right, at this point in time, we're gonna see what we could do about the face, and I'm gonna do some research and then figure it out, and then we're gonna do it. So what we're gonna do here is, this is the face to the OEM radio, and I don't know, I'm actually just assuming, guessing, testing. I'm gonna cut off these edges here and see if I'm able to get some more clearance so I could do something that I have this idea in my head, and I'll show you here later, but let's cut this off. Okay, we're going to talk about the final stages of assembling our modified OEM radio. Now, one of the things that I noticed is that after I went back and I cut these kind of tabs or the molding off of this OEM face, it still wasn't fitting in there. And I found out that the issue was the aftermarket Kenwood knob. And this is kind of really important because you can mess with all the settings and stuff like that. But that just, it wasn't working out, and there's not any more room you could find to make it work. So what I did is I found this little circular piece of aluminum with double-sided tape. I super glued it, and it works. And the button pushes in and everything. So I thought that was really cool. So at that point in time, I was able to put the face on. But I ran into an issue. I was like, well, first off, these buttons, they're just, before they had a dowel inside there, and now they just kind of fall out. So how did I solve that? Well, let's talk about that first. So what I do is I put a double-sided sticky tape and I put it inside there, and I push this down, and that stays in there. And the next thing, for this one, I just found like some random like 3M tape, and I'm gonna shove that in there, and that's gonna stay still. But with this button, which is on the left side, which is by here, this doesn't align perfectly in there. Now, it would have been cool if I could have used this to control that, but that required some more materials and ingenuity than I had. But I thought of something pretty cool, honestly. So essentially, when the face is on here, this connects on here, right? But check this out, this is really neat. So if I want to get to that little knob or rotating knob, I could pull this out, and I could do what I could need to do, and then I could put it back in. And the reason, the way that it stays in there is it has a magnet. So it's going to be in there, and I could just pull it out at any time and get to it, which is really neat. I did jerry-rig a little dowel pin made out of popsicle stick, so I can't really call it a dowel pin, a jerry-rig popsicle stick to hit the source button. But in the end of the day, I have the remote, which has everything that you need: source, volume, skip, rewind, and also this radio comes with an app for your phone. So there's a lot of additional backups, but I did want to have a few buttons functioning just in case. So at this point in time, what we're going to do is I'm going to assemble the radio. I'm going to put the face on, the knobs, and I'm also going to put the top cover on. Real quickly, we have to talk about this harness real quick. I bought this portion of the harness from Science of Speed, and this is the Kenwood harness, and I just connected them together. I used some easy twist from Crutchfield that I had left over and made the job really easy. My only comment is that the illumination wire from the OEM radio, there's nowhere to go in the Kenwood radio. I did read someone, I don't know if it's factual or not, but they said that Kenwood radios have a photo sensor or whatever that could adjust the lighting, but we'll see about that. And that's about it. Once we put it in the car, we'll just test it out and cross our fingers, and hopefully this is done. All right, guys, here's the moment that we've all been waiting for. Our Kenwood radio fires up, and we're able to control it with this remote, which is pretty cool. HD radio, USB, and let's get back to Bluetooth radio. If I get back here real quick. Okay, and now with my phone, I'm going to go ahead and connect to it. And let's watch one of Driver's Therapy's videos. Oh man, here we go. And if you guys haven't seen our new... And now we're going to turn up the volume. Oop, that... And there it is, guys. We have audio. Now let's pretend that we lost our radio. I mean our remote. What do? Well, check this out, guys. We remove our magnetic plug and we have manual access to everything. We could go into the functions. You know, we could just scroll around if we want, and then we could go back. So essentially, you could access quite a few things from this button here, and then you could just put it back in there because it's a magnet, which I love, which I think is the coolest thing ever. But that's about it. I'm going to go back to a source here, and let's see. And this does have like an aftermarket amp. I'm going to rewire the whole aftermarket amp because I just don't really like a big ol' amp. But guys, that's it. We did it. The NSX aftermarket radio is in there. And it looks pretty cool. Well, thanks for watching, everyone.